Right, first things first, why Gemling and why not just any other ascendancy? Well, it essentially comes down to multi-shot is an absolutely garbage support gem. It reduces your attack speed, it reduces your damage by a lot, and Gemling can avoid that. So the reason why I'm talking about multi-shot is Molten Blast is this build. Like, this spell is just this build. And Gemling has the ult quality, and through Anoints and Ascendancy nodes, you can get this up to around 31%, and that gives you 3 extra projectiles with the ult quality effect. So yes, any other class can do this, but you're going to have to run multi-shot, else it's going to feel bad. Right, so I'm just going to jump straight into gear because I assume many people already know what this build is about. It's Gemless Legionnaire, it's running Brutus-led Sprinklers, 2 of them, and it's stacking Strength. So typically, this is like the budget variant that you'll see a lot of people running. They're running a Constricting Command with 4 fewer enemies, Titan Rot with 3 sockets, 30% strength. The 3 socket is optional. And then an Astramentus with about 90 plus to all attributes, and then Breach qualityed up to 20% attribute quality. With that, they're running rare armor boots, rare armor gloves, rare armor belt, with strength where they can get it, attack speed on the gloves, move speed on the boots. And that's fine. That it gets you really high damage, it gets you around 5k life, you're fairly tanky. Now, this is a more expensive variant of this build. Now, in this expensive variant, we drop the Constricting Command for a Crown of Eyes, we drop the Titan Rot for the Iron Grasp, and we drop the Astramentus for a well-rolled rare amulet, as well as picking up a Heroic Tragedy and a Against the Darkness. The Heroic Tragedy needs to be a Verona that gets Black Scythe training, that turns Strength into percent energy shield, which is really good, but you gain no inherent bonus from Strength, so you won't get that life, which is fine, because Iron Grip and Iron Will do that anyway, so you already weren't getting any benefit from Strength. What Iron Grip and Iron Will do on Iron Grasp is they essentially disable the passive effect of Strength and instead make it 1% increased projectile attack damage, 1% increased spell damage, per 2 strength. Both of them are per 2 strength. Now, Crown of the Eyes, that converts those spell damage increases to attack damage, essentially, which is really good because I'm sitting at 1000 strength, I'm getting 500 extra attack damage, I'm getting 500 extra projectile damage. Now, the jewel, why that's important is because it gives Black Scythe training, as I was just saying, 1% increased energy shield per 2 strength. That is good in of itself, but if you were playing the previous version and you just slotted this in, you would just have no health and no energy shield, because that's percent increased energy shield, and the previous gear really didn't have any energy shield. So what we do is we pick up a belt, which has energy shield, we pick up gloves with energy shield, and we pick up boots with energy shield, and the previous mentioned amulet with pretty much as much strength as an Astramentus gave, but not to the other stats. These are kind of expensive to get. You can craft them yourself if you just find one that has all attributes and strength. You try and slam the 1 in 3% increased strength, and then you just do what you want with the prefixes. Ideally, the 17% increased global armor evasion energy shield would be Spirit, because, as I said, I'm already getting plus 500% energy shield. An extra 17% really doesn't do much on top of that. The Spirit would let me run an extra Spirit gem. But yeah, that's it for gear. Like, realistically, you're still going for flat damage and attack speed on the gloves. Still going for as much strength as you can on the belt, but get an ES belt. Not many people know that you can get an ES belt. And then move speed, resistances on the boots, like, and as much energy shield as you can afford. It's fairly typical. Rings, That's just flat damage and as much strength as you can while sorting out your resistances. And that's kind of like the expensive version of the build. As I say, the primary expense for all of this will mostly come from the Against the Darkness, which is 3% increased strength and 3% gain as extra. I'm just going to do rapid fire skill gems because I feel like a lot of them are personal preference, and if you really want to see what I'm running, just look up my POV. Molten Blast, rapid attacks, makes you attack rapid, Nova projectiles. Feels really good once you have 4, feels even better once you have 5. Fire treatment, I like fire damage. Elemental armament, I like fire damage. Elemental focus, I like fire damage. Now Molten Shower, fire attunement, I like fire damage. Elemental armament, I like fire damage. Fire exposure, ignite, can probably be changed. There's just not really much more damage in other ones without going into the expensive ones. This is 0 lineage. Tried to keep it 0 lineage because lineages suck and they just constantly go up in price. Well, they don't suck, they're really good, and that's why they go up in price. But you get. Other things to note. Once you make the swap to Energy Shield, fill in your empty slots with Dex only skills, because that'll increase the amount of Dex smokes you get. The gems in them really don't count. You just want to make sure your gem count completely matches for studied gems or whatever it's called on the Gemling Ascendancy. Now for possibly the most boring segment, passive tree. We'll start with Ascendancy, gem studded, really good effects. You can get all 3 just by having your gem count be the same. This, inconsequential. Skill gem quality, good. Virtuous Barrier, actually really good. Gives you a fair amount of energy shield when you have a lot of dex modes. More skill quality, and then plus 2 skill levels to Molten Blast, essentially, as an Ascendancy node. Skill gem quality here, and obviously the important one, Advanced Thaumaturgy. That's what gives you the ult effect. Now, we don't make use of a lot of ult effects, but the extra projectiles on Molten Blast is really key to making this build not just feel like an ass. The rest of the tree. So, because we're Gemling, we start the Gemling Salt. We immediately then proceed not to pick up a single Gemling passive. We just want to go get skill gems. Not skill gems, sorry, jewel sockets, because they're just too good. And unfortunately, that makes the tree really boring. Some key nodes. Beef, 25 strength. Brute strength, 1% increased damage per 15 strength. And Titanic, 5% increased strength. Now, in this variant, this is the best place for Feronas, I would say. A Heroic Tragedy Feronas, because it's just then 2 points to get Black Side training. The other best place is Chaos Inoculation, but I actually like to run Chaos Inoculation. So that kind of covers the tree in all reality. There's really not a lot going on here. Acceleration, move speed, and skill speed. Jewel sockets, all the way around. And then here's where it gets interesting. So I run a hollowed palm. What's that jewel called? Where at? From Nothing. I run a hollowed palm one. Right. The reason why this is important or not important is because against the time lost, notable passives increase strength by 3%. And they also give a lot of damage. Now, in Hollow Palm, you can get 2 of these for free. Well, 2 for 2 passive nodes. That's alright. And you also get Kite Runner, which is move speed. So that's also alright. Resonance is super expensive on this. But it is objectively better. Because you would... all these points here that could be going into strength, connecting these nodes, they're not. When you have a Resonance one, it covers you for about 8 nodes. Now that's 8 times 3% strength, 8 times 3% gain is extra. Really strong. Now the reason I'd say it's still doable with Hollow Palm is because these nodes are generally quite good anyway. Like, they have flat strength on them. This, because you're running spell damage counts as attack damage. Like, this node's actually not bad. 30% increased spell damage while wielding a melee weapon. That's great for us. So yeah, it feels bad to lose a large cluster of nodes here for what is essentially just trying to juice the Against the Darkness, but it is what it is. If you do have the money to get a Resonance one, you'd kind of pick up the same. You would lose Kite Runner, which is a good node in of itself, but you'd be able to get all 8 of these for a lot cheaper, so you'd be able to get more strength, which would just mean more damage, because that's all this build cares about, is strength. Chaos Inoculation. Once you made the swap to ES, really good. Who can be arsed managing 75 Chaos Resist and then trying to do a ritual while these pustules are blowing up under your feet and you're just dying? So Chaos Inoculation, always good. Jewels, just go for like percent strength ones in your rare jewel slots. 2% increased strength here, 2% increased strength here. These can be quite pricey, they're about a div each. Heart of the Well, always good to pick up. I got a movement speed one, bit of stun threshold. I was not thinking of those in the slightest when I bought this. I was thinking of the gain as extra. But yeah, that kind of covers the skill tree. Really boring, I know, I apologize.